Yeah.
Are you ready, Candy?
All set.
All right. We'll call the meeting to order. It's Tuesday, August 26th of 2025. This is the Stoughton City Council, and the first item of business is the roll call. Clerk Christian?
Okay, Nino.
Here.
Caravello.
Here.
Wozniak Scanlon.
Here.
Sherlucky.
Here.
Hirsch.
Here.
Jensen.
Here.
Hillison.
Here.
Reeves.
Here.
Butler.
Here.
And Schumacher.
Here.
Okay, we have 10 alders present, and alders Abel and Vanu are absent and excused.
All right, thank you. We are certified of compliance with open meetings law. And the next item is public comment. We have one person signed up to speak. Would you want to speak now or when your topic comes up? Okay, all right. Nobody else is signed up to speak. We'll go to communications and presentations. And we have the introduction of the historical fact of Stoughton.
All right. A couple of random happenings in August of various years. So 1907, sidewalk was the talk of the council. There were some long meetings about sidewalks and all the way back then. They were deciding on what grades were to be established for sidewalks and certain streets within the city. Not A, B, C, or D, or F, but percentages. Then in 1911, there was a semi-annual phone directory, but that was delayed in printing until July 1st. So Navin R. Johnson was not allowed to say the new phone books are here until July. But there were 850 telephones that were listed in that directory. 1911. 1947, the Stoughton Festival and Dance at the Junior County Fair drew an estimated 40 to 45,000 people. It was the largest crowd in for that event.
It's huge.
Mm-hmm.
Down at our little park, there was 40,000 people.
It was over a 2-day weekend, so, you know, maybe not all at once, or maybe all at once, I don't know. Right. Then a couple out of 1972, Mayor Cooper announced that there was, or the arrival of a tobacco buying station in the city that would be operated by the P. Lorillard Company. And Zapata Kitchens had expanded for the third time in the industrial park, the early makers of the tortillas, tacos, and tostada shells. That's it for Stoughton, but I also noted that Bob Newhart died, if anyone did.
All right. Are there any communications from alders this evening? Hearing none, we'll move into the consent agenda. There's a few items in there. I would entertain a motion to approve the consent agenda.
Move to approve.
A motion by Reeves. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Nino. Would anybody like anything acted on separately? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
And any opposed? All right, we'll move on. Believe it or not, there is no old business. New business, we do have a few items. The first few are coming from the Finance Committee. And that would be Alderperson Butler.
All right, the first is Resolution R-121 of 2025, resolution by the Common Council of the City of Stoughton approving a lease agreement with Stoughton Utilities, and I so move.
Is there a second?
Second.
second by Wozniak Scanlon. And did you want to give an overview? The city attorney can. We have utilities folks here. It also went through that committee as well.
I'll just say this is the lease that we've talked about many times over extended periods, and then I will pass it on to whoever would like to take it. I don't know if Attorney Manthe wants to.
Sure. So I think the city has had a lease with the utilities since at least the 90s for use of their current space. Over the last couple of years, there's been, I guess, a little bit of negotiation on that lease. So we've basically come to some sort of arrangement where the lease going forward, the rental terms are going to be substantially lower than prior leases, be more in line with PSC regulations. However, Stoughton Utilities is making sort of a catch-up payment for the last couple of years. So it's basically the lease that we view as in compliance with the current administrative regulations for what charges Stoughton Utilities can be, I guess, paid to the general fund of the city. So basically we have it tied to the building depreciation schedule, which is about $20,000 a year, plus any maintenance costs that can be attributed to Stoughton Utilities, like that are general for the building, except if they exceed, I believe it's $5,000 or $10,000. So it's a pretty small amount. But again, this is all sort of as a requirement of PSC regulation.
Okay, thank you. Any questions or comments? Hearing none, all in favor of the motion say aye.
Aye.
And any opposed? Motion carries. Next item also came from Finance. Alderperson Butler.
And I noticed we do not have the resolution, the file number in there.
Oh, okay. We can add R122 2025 to the resolution. We'll do that before we sign it. Thank you.
Perfect. So this is our 122 of 2025 to release the irrevocable letter of credit for GIP Glacier Marine LLC, and I so move.
Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Alderperson Hirsch. Alderperson Butler.
And this was an irrevocable line of credit for about $550,000 to be released once there was, or to protect the city and ensure sufficient tax increment, and that was met in June of this year.
All right. Thank you. Anything you want to add, City Attorney, or?
I think that sums it up.
Okay. Any questions or comments? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
And any opposed? None opposed. That motion carries. Next item, R123 from Finance.
Yep. R123 of 2025, resolution by the Common Council of the City of Stoughton approving an agreement to undertake development with GIP Glacier Marine, and I so move.
Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Nino. Alderperson Butler.
And I'm sure that Attorney Manthe can speak to this. I would just say this is to extend some new buildings. It will extend a new letter of credit at a certain point, and it amends the developer agreement to reflect a closing date in mid-November of 2025. And I should add that it did pass in in finance today. 6-0.
So I guess this is a very similar agreement to the last one regarding sort of these startup hubs, or I don't know what the name that they're called now. But basically the entity is buying the 2 acres of land for, I believe, $60,000 an acre. The city invested money in the infrastructure, so there's not like public improvements that need to be built, but it's more or less we need to guarantee we're going to get a certain amount of increment back to recover the cost of making the site shovel ready. So the basic requirement is for them to provide a letter of credit in the amount of tax increment that we would need to break even on the infrastructure costs. So there's a letter of credit in the amount for about 245,000, I believe, to cover that increment until 2035 when the TID closes and we anticipate that it comes in. So very similar to the last agreement with this entity that we just approved for releasing the letter of credit.
All right, any questions or comments on this one? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
And any opposed? None opposed, that motion carries. The next few are coming from the Plan Commission. Alderperson Caravello.
This one is R-124 of 2025, approving a conditional use permit for an indoor commercial entertainment per section 78-206, parentheses 4, parentheses H, located at 1305 East Main Street, parcel number 051104355163, and I so move.
Here a second?
Second.
Second by Alderperson Hirsch. Alderperson Caravello.
And this is a CUP for a proposed, I guess we're calling it, indoor commercial entertainment, and the intended use is an arcade. The name is escaping me right now, like an arcade and a repair facility also in the same building for arcade games and that sort of. That's
All right.
about it. Seems like an okay use to me for that facility.
Are there any questions or comments? Alderperson Reeves.
I don't know if the person is here. I don't see the hours, and I don't know if there's any restriction on hours, but, oh, I couldn't find them, so. Oh, here we go. Never mind. I went right by it. Got it. Thank you.
Yeah, there's a lot of fine print in those reports. And I don't believe there's going to be any alcohol served here, if I recall properly. Is that right, Candy? They didn't apply for a liquor license, did they?
They did not, no.
Right, and this is, I believe, the former laundromat, is that right?
Pause to pause.
Yeah.
Oh, the pet food store, yeah,
Yeah.
right in that same area. That's right, thank you. Any questions or comments? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
And any opposed? None opposed. That motion carries. The next one is a first reading for an ordinance. Alderperson Caravello.
Yep, and this one is 028 of 2025, an ordinance amending section 66-108 concerning land suitability. And I don't know if we have somebody here from sustainability, but this basically just designates that before anything is subdivided or approved or anything like that for residential use, that the land is suitable to be used for such.
All right, and I know Chris Munns Pritchard, she's off today, and she had talked to Alderperson Nino and President Schumacher about kind of walking us through some of the specifics of this. There's a couple other ordinances that the Plan Commission approved that are going to be in the next meeting when Director Munns Pritchard can be there. But we felt like this one could move forward tonight. I don't know who wants to start here.
Yeah, this was something that one of our committee members worked on with Director Pritchard. And as Alder Caravello said, this is about looking at the topography and the hydro features of the land to ensure that the large parcel of land or segment is divided appropriately before development. So one might consider, like, if there is a kettle, how might the land be divided around the kettle to accommodate that so that the development can be planned appropriately. President Schumacher, do you have anything
Yep.
to add?
It was designed for us to be able to characterize plots of lands, delineate certain either geologic or land features on it, and then be able to characterize that land as far as soil types and that, whether it's suitable or not to build in those sections, or what things would be appropriate within those. Regina?
I have a question. So is the onus to do this on the city to develop these maps or the developer?
So basically, we're creating standards that the developer has to meet in order to gain approval. So these are going to be factors that the city can consider when a subdivision or plat is presented. So it's really on the developer to show that their land is suitable or like satisfies.
Follow-ups. So I know there's a parcel of land that may come in for development, probably in the new future, that has possibly kettle ponds, or actually has some ponds on it. As an example, would the city then be able to, once they submit these maps, saying these ponds, the city basically wants as parkland, that you cannot build in those areas? I mean, how will this actually work?
Well, I'll just start and then you can piggyback. So what the intention would be is if a developer approached us on a piece of land, we would send them some documents. One of the documents would be this ordinance. Another one would be the park design guidelines. So they have them up front, ideally before they do a plat. Now, sometimes they'll come to us already have a sketch done. But at that point, when we did our initial meeting, we would talk through that and say, hey, you know, we have these ordinances, we have these design guidelines and other documents that you need to incorporate your plat before it's submitted for the preliminary plat.
Yeah, that's generally correct. And basically, it's geared towards trying to help guide development to protect, I guess, environmentally sensitive areas. So through the preliminary plat process, look at sort of the lot layout and how those features are affected by it, and focus on the approval or that the council might deem necessary to protect.
And I would just add the other thing, you know, that is taken into consideration is the stormwater management, which, depending on the scope of the development, that would be something that would go through the Capital Regional Area Planning Commission. There's other examples where, you know, it might be more limited to that, especially if it's an infill. But, you know, those are some other opportunities for us to have the conversation as staff. But obviously, I'm sure you have more questions about this because I know this is near and dear to you.
It is. I mean, it's just, and maybe I'll have more time to think about it for more questions for next time because it is the first reading. The only thing that I had on this ordinance, is there a way, because I think Chris probably create those nice little pictures on the bottom of, was it page 3? They're just not clear. You know, it's really hard to read all the little things. If she could kind of make those clearer, I think that would help the developer too, because even when you're trying to blow it up, it just gets all blurry and you can't read all the nuances. And if we're expecting developers to actually abide by this, we should make it as clear as
And I'm sure this is one of them, you know, this is kind of our first stab at it. So I'm sure this is something that we can always look to improve as we run across things. But I also think that, you know, the Sustainability Committee and Director Munz Pritchard and one of the experts on the committee did a fair amount of work on this. And I think they did a nice job of trying to cover as much as we can, but things evolve. So right now we have nothing. So I think this is a really good start. Alderperson Reeves and then Jensen.
Yeah, I agree. I'm really happy to see this, and I think it's a great step. And it could be in here, but because I don't know a lot about geology, I did have some questions about, like, how do we know their studies are valid? You know, so I'm thinking like underground springs, or what are there going to be some specific criteria that they need so that we know their study is real and legitimate and not just a gloss over? And that's, I know, sort of an open-ended question, but because I don't know what I don't know, except that I don't want them taking shortcuts. I guess that's the thing. So anything we can add to be very specific about things that we may not see that may be underground, whether it's aquifer and those sorts of things, I'd like to know, you know, what data. So maybe just more information about how can we hold their feet to the fire to make sure it's real science and not mush. Thank
I
you.
don't know if that's something you guys talked about at the committee or if it's something that we need to dig into. Certainly not my area of expertise.
We can take a look at that, and I can touch base with Chris, see if to look at those factors, I guess, and if we need to sort of specify how that might be, how a developer might satisfy those. Give that thought.
I mean, we know there's some items, like, wetlands that usually they have to go through the DNR, and I'm sure they have criteria for what they do. But I don't know as far as what we have in here, whether or not there's other opportunities.
I don't know about the kind of the groundwater aspect, but the soil maps right now, they're using NRCS's soil maps. Right now, they're really good. Going forward, I don't know, seeing how the current administration is trying to get rid of NRCS. I don't know if the scientists are going to be there to continue to update those maps. They seem to be getting rid of the scientists. So at this stage, yes. 5-10 years from now, I have no idea. So we might have to think about that.
Alderperson Jensen, did you have a question, comment?
Yeah, no, Lisa actually stole my question, one of my questions, but that's good. I had another question for Attorney Manti. I'm assuming that we've checked to make sure that we're not stepping on any of the toes of any state statute on this then? That would just be my concern.
So the city has broad authority in its subdivision, its ability to govern the subdivision of land, and land suitability is one of the express factors, I guess, that you can use for establishing. So I feel pretty good about our ability to look at these types of factors.
Anything else? All right. Oh, go ahead.
I guess now we're talking about this and little synapses are going off in my brain. I would add in there that they also have to identify any endangered species, both federal and state, that's possibly on the property, and then we can work around that. I mean, it should be there already, but I don't know what the deal is with respect to when you have development, and they shouldn't be able to develop on land that habitat for endangered species, but they seem to get away with it. But we need to at least identify that, be able to preserve the stream, or if there's a kettle, or if there's a woodlot that actually is the key habitat. So.
All right. Alderperson Nino?
Yeah, I just wanted to clarify one thing, that the land suitability ordinance does already exist. This is an amendment that adds sort of that numbered list. And those were added with the intention of clarifying the land suitability ordinance so that it could actually be used to guide appropriate or inappropriate.
Anybody else have any questions or concerns? This one will be back at the next meeting, so if anything comes up, you can email Director Muntz Pritchard, and we'll try to get you the rest of the answers. Next item is a resolution from the Plan Commission.
So before I read this one, thank
Numbers.
you.
It's so fun
That
to watch
was
you
my
read them.
question,
You do
because
such a great
otherwise-
job.
I would have had to leave immediately. Unless you guys want to sit here on. So then I can just, okay. This is Resolution 125 of 2025, approving a 2-lot certified survey map with dedicated right-of-way located at the riverfront site, city parcel and RDA parcels with the numbers listed as following in the resolution. Does that satisfy the, okay.
Did enough to satisfy you for a second.
And
I heard a
so moved,
second.
yeah.
Second by Sherlucky. All right. Do you want to explain the certified survey map? I think this also went through the RDA, if I remember right.
Should have, because was their property. I mean, their parcel. It's just a certified survey map has to be completed. It's the next step before anything else can happen, like developers agreements and building permits, stuff like that. The map is listed in here where it is both parcels of this or lots of this are identified on page 1 of the, but there's a lot to read here. I'm not sure what else.
I think the city attorney can summarize it and the rationale between doing 2 lots at this time.
Right, so there are potentially 2 phases to the development. The developer is still sort of working on concepts for phase 2, or like what the lot layout might be. They've got a pretty good idea on what it has to be for them, but basically we're creating 2 lots at this point. There will be 3 lots, so that lot 2 will be divided sometime in the future, where one parcel will be city, public land, park, stormwater management, and the other would be potential second development site. But just to move things along for phase 1, we're bringing the CSM forward now to just allow for phase 1 to continue moving forward.
Anything RDA members want to add?
No, I think they summed it up. I'd like your approval.
All right. Any questions or comments? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
And any opposed? Motion carries. Next item is first reading from the Plan Commission.
And this one is ordinance 29 of 2025, approving a general development plan for the area known as Scollendale in the Scollin development at 1214 East Main Street, Stoughton, Wisconsin, parcel number 05110-435-5163, and this is a first reading.
Okay. And then Chris Krenz is here from the development. And you just push the button and the red light comes on and you should be good to speak. Thank you for being here.
Okay, I'm Chris Krentz, President and CEO at Scollin. I registered for speaker just to make myself available for any questions you'd have on the project.
Are there any questions?
I could provide a little bit more context just because Chris isn't here tonight. But basically, the intent was to try to make this GDP as similar as possible to all the other sort of buildings around or the parcels around this area. So because there was a GDP approved at some point, but we don't have it on file apparently. So this was basically just trying to make it as consistent as possible with the other parts of the area.
And, you know, as you might recall, this is where the former Badger Car Wash was. And I don't know exactly what you're planning on doing with it, but
We're actually planning on developing that to 4 independent living retirement condos. It's right across the street from the beginning of Venival, so real easy for us to just add it to our additional condo portfolio and help alleviate our years-long wait list.
And what's your timetable right now, Chris?
We're hoping to begin construction this fall.
Almost here.
I know. Time goes
Felt
fast.
like it today. All right. Okay, President Schumacher.
During the Plan Commission, there was a neighbor that was talking about the closed lot line on there. Was that resolved, or did you come to a resolution with that?
Yeah, I've talked with him many times. So one of the things we're going to do is we had planned on putting a fence along the northern boundary and then kind of on the western boundary a little bit for privacy, for headlight obstructions and things like that, so no lights showing through. We're actually going to move that fence in about 6 feet to give him more of a buffer, because honestly, if we develop that according to the boundary line, he would not have any backyard at all. It was a non-conforming house. So I've talked with him. He's agreed to the fence relocation. And as far as the landscaping plan, which I believe is in the packet, we basically will eyeball the placement of those bushes once we get to that point of construction, so we can place them together and come to some kind of a mutual agreement to allow privacy for the residents, but yet, so he still has a backyard.
Thanks for working with them on that.
Oh, you're welcome.
Any other questions or comments on this one? So this is the first reading, which means it would be coming back at the next meeting. You're welcome to attend that one as well. And if council members have any questions between now and then, you can forward them on to Chris Pritchard, and she'll get you some answers. All right, we'll move on to the next item. Item 14 is a resolution. This one came from utilities, and I think Alderperson Tillison's going to introduce this one.
Thank you, Mayor. This is Resolution 126-2025, a resolution by the Common Council of the City of Stoughton approving an amendment to the Stoughton Utilities 2025 operating budget to fund the purchase and modification of a new digger derrick truck. And I so move.
Is there a second? Second by President Schumacher. Alderperson Tillison, do you want to walk us through that? We have people here from utilities.
I saw that, but I am super excited to talk about digger trucks, and could talk about digger trucks until I'm blue in the face, but I will pass this on to the beautiful staff of the Utilities Commission.
Thank you. So the amendment that you have before tonight came about, we currently have 2 digger derrick vehicles. One of them is up for replacement in 26. It was included in our 5-year CIP that you approved last fall. That vehicle was in the shop twice this last month for the tune of about $17,000. The truck is 18 years old. Given that we are planning to replace it next year, internal staff discussions, and also that our last digger derrick went to auction, we only got $13,000 for it, and it was 4 years newer than this one. So recovering our dollars for recovering our money for putting any more repairs into this vehicle is not an option. Staff internal discussions, we came up with a plan to move up the purchase of the digger derrick here in 25. So rather than purchase in 26, we're going to use those dollars now. We have a demo unit that is at our shop. I believe they picked it up today, or maybe they got it today. That our guys are checking out to see if it's going to work for them. The demo unit is available for sale. Jessica, our asset and facilities coordinator, has been in contact with the company. We have a contract for a price to purchase the vehicle should it work out for the line crew. So Jessica's going to speak with the line crew tomorrow, make sure it's going to work for them. But what we'd like to do is go ahead and pull the trigger on purchasing that vehicle yet in 25. The last ones that we purchased were 2 years out. So if we forego this opportunity, we could be in a position where we are down to 1 digger derrick potentially, and a new purchase is a couple years out. So that is why we'd like to move forward with this tonight. Jessica did say that the company reached out to her and said there's another utility that is interested in it. So We are looking to move forward quickly. The purchase of the new vehicle per the contractor is $310,000, but we do have additional dollars that we would need to make modifications to the truck for the guys to add bins, tool compartments, things like that they would need for their daily work. But that is our request before you tonight. We would then, for our 26 CIP budget, we would then reduce what we were planning to spend by the $425,000 that we are spending yet this year. And of course, we would only spend it up to that amount. If the vehicle and modifications are less than that, of course, we would spend that amount.
All right, thank you. Does everybody know what a digger derrick truck is? Because I didn't know until the last couple of weeks.
I'll leave that to Brian to explain, actually.
Come on up, Brian. I'll see if I can find a picture.
So we have our normal bucket trucks, which you would all recognize. The digger derrick truck, we use that to set poles, set and carry poles primarily. So it has a crane attachment. It also has an auger, which is used to dig the holes for the pole. It can tip up and then set the poles in. We also use it to lift our heavier three-phase transformers. Either they can be carried in the bed of that truck, or if they're too large, they would be carried on a trailer that is hauled behind the truck. So it has a wide variety of uses for the electric department.
I don't know if that's the best picture, but it gives you kind of a feel for it. All right, any questions or comments on this one?
What is the importance of these trucks if we have some type of tornado or storm or anything like that? How critical are they in your
So
force?
we have a lot of electric projects that we're working on. If you recall in our CIP, we have a multi-year pole replacement project going out on the west side of town. They use these daily in those large projects. So we have a lot of services that go in, but they also have large projects that they have work to do that they're trying to keep up on as well. So they use these every day in their work. We have 2 trucks. We have 2 crews going. Should a storm come through, absolutely, we need both of those vehicles. If we are down to 1, that would not be ideal. We can work with other municipalities for like mutual aid or emergency situations, but we do need 2 of those vehicles in operations for our daily projects.
Seems like in the winter you could also use them for ice fishing holes.
Maybe.
I don't know if you want to drive that on the lake.
Yeah.
We'll talk to risk management about that. All right, any other questions or comments on this one? Hearing none, all in favor of the motion say aye.
Aye.
And any opposed? All right, motion carries. Next item also came from, went through personnel and then utilities. Who would like the honors?
I got
It's
you,
either
Mayor.
or Jonathan. You guys can tag team it.
Sure. Super important. This is Resolution 127 of 2025, authorizing and directing the proper city officials to approve the new Utilities Administrative Assistant position with a pay rate of $23 an hour, and I so move.
Is there a second? Second by Sherlucky. And Alderperson Tilson.
And Utilities is looking for an administrative assistant to basically help do records keeping and filing and copying so that line personnel that are making $60 an hour can have more time spent planting lines than filing paperwork. Did I sum that up pretty good?
That might be part of
Not
it.
actually planting lines, so it's
Digging lines with the
more
digger
of
derrick?
The staff here, you were, that's the field. So this is more internal. Exactly right. This is making sure that those duties are at the appropriate level and are being handled. Right now, Brian, who's behind me, he is handling his own agendas and posting things along those lines. We know that he has a skill set that is much higher than that. And we want to have him be able to hand those to an administrative assistant, have that person be able to provide assistance at that level, get things posted. He'll oversee that. So we're utilizing our resources as we should be. That's the reason.
Yeah, and I think this kind of came to light as AJ and I have been interviewing a lot of the staff down there, during the interim period, and we found some common themes,
Right.
and this is one of them. So another example is when they send out late notices, the folks that are sending them out right now are, they're at a higher pay level than stuffing envelopes, quite frankly. I mean, it's important they do it, and we appreciate that it's all hands on deck, but these are the types of tasks that I think we're looking to delegate.
It also gives us the ability to utilize the skill sets better of those employees.
And I think it's important that we noted it's not an executive assistant assigned to one person, correct?
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Okay. And then budgetarily, any questions or issues for you, Shannon? As long as you're here, we're going to make good use of your time.
Yeah, I'll come back up. Budgetarily, ran some numbers for an October 1st start date for this position at the hourly wage of $23 an hour, including hours worked, WRS, and taxes. It'd probably be just short about $14,000 for this year. Taking a look at our all three utilities budget, they would be able to absorb that yet this year. I would then build that into our 26 budget, adding that position in.
All right. Any questions or comments from alders?
Just for clarification, is this
Sure, go ahead.
one full FTE?
Yes, it is. One full-time person.
Yeah, I think what we found over the years that we had people that maybe started in this position and they moved up to higher level positions and we never really backfilled it.
That's correct.
Yeah. All right. All in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
And any opposed? Motion carries. Thank you for being here tonight, Brian and Shannon. You're excused, unless you want to stay. Okay, we're almost there. Item 16, FMLA policy. This one came from personnel. Alderperson Sherlucky.
This is Resolution R-128 of 2025, authorizing and directing the proper city officials to approve the updated FMLA policy, which stipulates that employees use all available sick, vacation, and compensatory time while off on FMLA. Time without pay is only approved when all available time has been exhausted. This update will take immediate effect and apply to all employees currently utilizing FMLA, as well as those who do so in the future. Personnel recommends this unanimously at 5-0, and I so move.
Is there a second? Second by Nina.
And I would turn this over to Director Gillingham to sum up for us, if that's all right.
Yes. So what we've seen is that we have employees who are able to take time off and for FMLA reasons, so they have to qualify for that. But what's happening is they are taking that time off and opting at times to take it without pay. When they come back from that leave, they could potentially have built up vacation time that they have to use by the end of the year. So utilizing this policy would help to alleviate that, possibly. But more importantly, on the sick time, that's what the intent of sick time is for, is to compensate that employee while they're off, whether or not it's FMLA time. Keeping in mind, there is, if an employee is off for, they're off for FMLA, not utilizing their sick time, that can become a liability for the city at the time that they actually retire from the city, because that does have a value and is paid out into that health savings account. So we think that this makes it a fair playing ground for all employees. The policy is set across the board. Everybody then gets the same amount of time off, whether or not they have FMLA. And we think that this is the right way to go based on having everything be equivalent for all employees. Thank you.
All right. Any questions? Alderperson Reeves.
Not a question, but I think maybe just a clarification on D, payments on FML leave. I'm wondering if it should say in the first line, the city will require employees use available sick. The way it reads, it's a little unclear.
Should not be in there. The city requires.
Okay.
So we're eliminating.
Thank you.
Okay. All right, any other questions or comments? So we'd be looking at passing the motion with that change. We don't have to do an amendment or anything for that, do we? It's okay, all right. All right, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
And any opposed? That motion carries. All right, item number 17 is development agreement with Alexander Company for the riverfront redevelopment area. We do have an opportunity to go into the closed session. David Voss is here representing Alexander if we have any questions for him. City attorney was at the RDA meeting last night. I know Director Trevor Talski's been working with Ellers to bring together some information, and you can provide an update and see where we go.
So basically, we've, Alexander has submitted a tax increment financing request. Ellers has started to do a preliminary analysis, and they are available tonight to talk about that. There are also a couple of items that we would like to discuss with council regarding the agreement as it pertains to public improvements and responsibilities for those, and I guess who pays for it. So that's why we wanted to have a closed session tonight, is just to talk about those terms and get direction from the council about how we'd like to proceed with this potential development. So if council feels like it should go into, or is required to go into closed session, a motion would be appropriate. I don't think I have any questions for him at this time.
You drove all the way down here. Pretty good with not speaking today. Or is there anything you want to share with us?
I don't really have any updates per se, but we are planning on submitting our application to WIDA in September. So we do have kind of a short window for reaching a development agreement on the project. We need to be able to show site control, and the purchase agreement is part of that development agreement. The other thing that needs to be covered in the development agreement is the sources of funds. We have to have 80% of the sources of funds for the project committed for that WIDA application. So that's why we're here today. And I apologize to Rick because we had to kind of push him along on getting the development agreement done. And he's done a lot of long hours getting to that point, but I appreciate your consideration.
Thank you. Any questions for Dave while he's here? All right. Thanks for being here.
Okay, thanks.
Okay, so we're looking to go into closed session, and I think I can take a hint. Who wants the honors of reading the language?
I can do, oh.
Go ahead.
Oh. Then I'll move that we go into closed session. The council may meet in closed session per state statute 19.85, parenthetical 1E, deliberating or negotiating the purchasing of public properties, the investing of public funds, or conducting other specified public business whenever competitive or bargaining reasons require a closed session. The Common Council may reconvene in an open session to discuss and take action on the subject matter discussed in the closed session. The Council may reconvene in open session to take action on matters discussed in closed session.
That's a motion.
I moved it.
Okay, I'm sorry, missed it. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Tillotson. And then this one takes a roll call vote whenever you're ready, Candy.
Okay, Nino,
Aye.
Caravello,
Aye.
Osnock Scanlon,
Aye.
Sherlucky,
Aye.
Hirsch,
Aye.
Jensen,
Aye.
Tillotson,
Aye.
Reeves,
Aye.
Butler,
Aye.
Schumacher.
Aye.
Okay, that's 10 alders in favor.